Hello, I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about the rhetoric of Newspeak and the movie 13 Days, in which my purpose is to provide evidence and support for the concept of Newspeak within our society. Our society was and is one which doesn't seem to get too excited, and I'm speaking in general terms, when it comes to the prospect of nuclear war. This can be attributed to Newspeak and the feelings which derive from it. But first, I'd like to talk a little bit about myself briefly, and the fact that I'm a little different than some of the students growing up, some of the students that are in this course, and the fact that I grew up in the 70s and 80s, which was the second half of the Cold War. And ironically, nuclear war, nuclear weapons, they never concerned me. But I will admit that death concerns me, and death concerned me as a child. Death still concerns me today. So I wondered for a long time, why wouldn't I be affected by the threat of nuclear war or nuclear weapons? And I think a lot of it has to do with Newspeak, which I'm obviously here to talk to you about today. Now, Newspeak provided the average citizen with the ability to cope during potentially destructive times. We all knew nuclear war would end life as we knew it. Who could ever forget Ronald Reagan calling the USSR the evil empire and the hate directed towards them? But did we really understand or believe what he was talking about? Research noted during this speech hopefully will provide answers to what drives the notion of Newspeak, and 13 Days provides a clear backdrop for our understanding of this phenomenon. In addition, Newspeak provides a type of ploy for acceptance of nuclear weapons in the minds of our leaders. Shepa, Cohn, and Northcutt all provide supporting views in the following points. The public is blinded by the threat of nuclear war through bureaucratization, domestication, and defense mechanisms. My first point would be that Newspeak is a strategy aimed towards pacification through confusion. In other words, according to Shepa, this is bureaucratization and is the process by which nuclear concepts are insulated by jargon and not easily understood by a typical member of the public. He goes on to give examples such as Cortex and Strategic Defense Initiative, which may not be readily understandable to those who are in the public eye or are in the public. This type of language provides deflection from what we want to discuss, but we are hesitant to provide the true meaning. In the movie 13 Days, we see this example in the beginning of the movie as the USSR is accused of giving Cuba the SS-4 Sandel, which is an example of an MRBM. In other words, what I'm trying to say here is that it's not easily understood. Those definitions are not, we don't know what they are. Now, if it comes back and says, if somebody would explain and say, okay, that is a missile, sir, do you know what a missile is? Absolutely, I know what a missile is. But when you're telling me Sandel SS-4 in Cuba, are we talking about cigars or are we talking about weapons? So that's one way to look at things. Also, with these weapons, when you have that type of speak or language and abbreviations or whatever you want to call it, people aren't going to get too excited, meaning in the movie, as we saw, people went on with their daily lives. People were playing football. People were going to political rallies. Things were not as maybe what they should have been. They were not presented as they should have been. Again, by Shepa, another Newspeak strategy involves the domestication as we use friendly language with discussions or descriptions of nuclear weapons. Weapons may be viewed in a positive light. An example of this, according to Cohn, would be the use of clean bombs. Clean bomb sounds like a type of bomb that spares death and destruction, which we know is entirely not true. Example from 13 Days takes place when the military men surrounded the president, and it was suggested that the United States use surgical airstrikes to disarm the Cubans. Surgical. Meaning we all understand that surgical or surgeons or those performing surgery are saving lives, are doing good things. We know that a surgical airstrike does not do these types of things. Newspeak stresses defense mechanisms and the need to protect ourselves, and as a result, we will easily survive. as we are not on the offensive. We know this not to be true also. Cohn believes words such as counterforce exchanges to defend opponents' first strike capabilities are similar to nicknaming bombs peacekeepers. In addition, as citizens, we have the responsibility to protect ourselves. We protect ourselves through things like bomb shelters. But I guess in conclusion, the public becomes numb to nuclear weapons and the threats that they pose, and with these descriptions, we never really truly understand. And finally, in the short term, Newspeak presents the public with a kind of insulation towards the dangers. We understand that everything will work itself out in relation to conflict. In the long term, Newspeak presents the public with a false sense of security. Nuclear weapons are readily available for use and can be used with any crazy person that would like to go out and set the world on fire. We all know that they will destroy the world. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.